We're gonna make a biscuits and gravy this morning, a sausage gravy. It's a lumberjack meal. It's real simple, real simple. Anybody can make this at home, and it's easy to make. Okay, so we got bacon, we got sausage. I did get the hot ground Italian sausage and a hickory smoked thick cut bacon. Okay, so these here, you basically want to open them up before they get warm. So I have a pan. I don't have a lot of money. So I have a pizza pan that I'm going to use. It's real simple. Just because I don't want it to stick to my pizza pan, I have aluminum foil. I'm going to pull it out. When you put it shiny side up, that'll help it not stick so much. So then you open this. This is one of the easiest ways in the thing in the world. You want to get these warm before you bake them, basically. So I do. Let them proof a little bit, rise up, and then just press on it. It'll come apart. Once it comes apart, get them to fall out. Okay, don't press on them at all. And I put them in a circle. You don't have to, right? You can put them in a line. Okay, keep them about an even distance apart. Real simple. I just set them to the side. Get my oven warm. Here I can set them right there. I'll get my oven warm at about 350. I'll go 400, 425 with that. Just because I want the biscuits to get a little color to them. Okay, so now I got the pan. I need to get a cutting board, which I'll put away. And this will make my wife happy. First I'm going to do the bacon. I got 3 pieces of bacon. That's about what one person would eat. This is a thick cut, hickory smoked. To me it doesn't really matter. I'm trying to make for about 2 people. And then what we're making is a pan sauce or pan gravy, basically. We're going to make it all in the pan. I want to get some color in here in the bottom or fond from the caramelization, from the sugars sticking from the bacon cooking, which is where all the flavor is going to be. Oh, it's going to make things wonderful. So I get that on. I put it on a good medium-high heat. I'll say 2 tablespoons of black pepper. Right to the bacon as it goes in. I want it to caramelize on the bottom with the sugars to give the fond a little spiciness, actually. It really won't stick to the bacon too much, but it will stick to the bottom, which I'm going to use the bottom to make my pan gravy with. So I don't mind the bacon fat and the sugars and the black pepper coming off of the bacon sticking to that, because I'm going to put that right into my gravy. And it's going to be the flavor that my gravy has in the end. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to break the bacon pieces up, because you know bacon's all sliced. And if you just play with it, it'll come apart. And getting the pan hot at the same time. And then I'll let it sit and caramelize for a couple minutes. And waiting on that, we're going to get some stuff together. What I need for this is flour. And it'll be... You're going to make a pan roux. With a pan roux, you want to make sure you have about an even part of flour and even part fat. Then when you combine those two, what that does is a chemical reaction in the flour and the fat, and it creates something called dextrine. And dextrine is what makes things silky and smooth on your tongue. It gives it the body, the flavor. The longer you cook the roux, the darker the roux will get. If you want to do a black roux, it'd take about a day and a half, a real slow temperature. Make a real good black roux. Or brown roux is about 18 hours, maybe 22 hours. To make a really good one, where you're really, really cooking a lot of the dextrine in and making it really silky. The more you cook it, the less it thickens. So the longer you cook the roux, the less it thickens. But so what I'm making here is a pan roux. So it's going to be a real quick roux. It's going to be a blonde roux, and it's going to be about even parts of the fat to basically the flour at the end of cooking, when I've cooked and browned off all my meat. So I can't really tell you until I've browned off all my meat how much flour I can add to it. But at that point, I'll tell you, I took 3 stripes of bacon, which it was pound cut bacon. So 10 pieces made 1 pound. So 1/3 of a pound of bacon. Added to it, and about 2 teaspoons of black pepper, which, like I said, will stick to the bottom mostly and won't be on the bacon when you're done cooking. Okay, so if you want to do this real slow and get the most fat out and don't want to eat in the next, hour or 2, I could render this bacon down really, really slow and get a lot of fat out of it, but I don't want to wait that long, so I've got it on a good amount of heat. Probably about 3/4 of the way up on the electric stove. I did go to a school up in New York. I'm not going to lie, I'm a professional chef. I have to say I was paid for 40 years to cook around the world for many different people. I figured about 12 million people in my life. To this point, probably not done. Hopefully I get another 12 million out of it. Teach you all online at least, if I can't come and cook for you in a restaurant. Anyways, I'm rendering the bacon down. I'm keeping it moving because I've got it on a pretty high heat and I don't want it to really burn it. And I want to get as much of the fat out, and I'm trying to create as much fond as I possibly can across the bottom of this pan. This is all about getting the flavor and the caramelization out of the bacon. So I'm spreading it out and keeping it cooking and letting the bacon come off of it. If you notice, most of the pepper's coming off and sticking to the bottom of the pan now, where I want it. I'm going to use milk in the end here. Once I've made my roux and cooked it for a couple minutes, after I brown my bacon, I'll take the bacon out and we're going to run a little sausage. I'm going to take probably about 1/4 of this pound of sausage out of this pound of sausage, so about 1/4 of this, and I'm going to brown it off in the pan, and right before it's done cooking, I'm going to add the flour. Okay, so the bacon's almost perfect now. Okay, I'm going to turn this down to off. I'm going to lean my pan up. I'm going to get my bacon out of the fat as much as I possibly can. There, see? My bacon's out of the pan, nice and bottom. This was a silver stainless, just like the side there. That's all fun. That's all sugar coming out of the fat. It's what you want. It's what you want. It makes the food beautiful. Now the black pepper's now not on my bacon any longer. That black pepper's all stuck to the bottom, which is exactly what I want. Cause once I get my bacon out, and try to get all the bacon out. I don't want to burn my bacon in the bottom of this pan. And if you leave little crumbs in there, you'll burn the bacon, okay? So, next what I'm going to do, so a stainless steel bowl, take the fat, pour it off. Save that fat, I want that fat, okay? Any little pieces of bacon still in there? Now they're yours. Okay, so next, while the pan is still hot, without doing anything else, I'm going to take and cut about 1/4 pound of this. Okay, and make sure you take off the little piece of meat. Put that into the pan and break it up into little pieces as much as you want. But I'll keep breaking it up once I get it in there. Okay. And I'm going to put it back in the fridge. Now remember, I'm only making this for about 2 people. If you want to make it for more, you can just add more ingredients, more. If you want to make it for 8 to 10 people, add the whole pound. I don't think me and my wife need that much to eat, but I haven't even turned the stove back on. This is just the heat from cooking the bacon and the fat from cooking the bacon. What I do is take the fat that I took off from the bacon, and I'm going to add about 1/4 cup back, maybe 1/8 of a cup, we'll say 1/8 of a cup fat back. And then I'm going to add in flour, about 1/8 of a cup. And I want my flour to absorb all of my fat. And what I'm producing here is a roux. And I don't mind, if me personally don't mind a little extra fat, because actually milk will help absorb it up. Because milk is really low in fat. It's not cream. If you're using cream, then no. I'd probably absorb most of all the fat here, but you don't really have to. The more flour I add here, the more I have to cook it, and I have to cook it off. So now I'm creating a roux, and it's actually above my fond. And my fond is a nice, beautiful brown color right now, and my roux is just absorbing over to the top of it and all over the beef, and the sausage and bacon, which I haven't added the bacon bits back yet. It'll make them work. Okay, so I've got that going. I got to turn the stove back on. Once I feel like it's gotten hot enough, which I don't need it real hot, because all I'm trying to do here now is going to be to deglaze this pan with this milk, and it'll actually thicken instantly once it comes to a boil and become a gravy. And this is called a pan gravy, and you can do this with milk, which you're making basically a bechamel. If I was in Europe or in a fine dining restaurant in this country, I'd probably add nutmeg to it, but me personally, I like nutmeg in my desserts, not really in my food, and that's just me. I've lived all over the world, and I've acquired a taste for a lot of things. And yes, she just stole a piece of bacon, and that's okay. I love her. I'd say that's pretty good on the roux. I can tell the meat's now warm again. For this, I'm going to add about 2 cups of milk, I'd say, to it, and then I'm just going to stir, and I'm going to let it get hot again. And as it gets hot, the milk itself will start absorbing all that flour and butter, which will thicken my gravy. You have to cook it from this point for about 20 more minutes at a simmer if you want to get that flour residual taste out of it. Just keep stirring it. Do not let your bechamel sit for too long. If you let it sit without stirring it, you burn it. And you're okay if you burn this, as long as you don't stir it once you burn it. You can't scrape the bottom in any way or form, or the whole thing will have a really kind of interesting flavor. We'll say it's kind of woody kind of flavor, maybe. You say you smoked it to people, and you might get away with it, but you may not too. So basically, right now, all I'm doing is bringing this up until it comes to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'll judge how thick it is. If it's too thick, which it could be, because there's a good amount of flour in this, fine. But I think it'll be perfect, and I think the sauce will be perfect, and the gravy will be perfect. And I'll add my bacon back into it, and then I'll put that right over the top of my biscuits, which are almost perfectly done. And as you see it heat, you'll see that what you're seeing now is actually the spice out of the sausage coming up, which is in the oils, which are floating on the top. And those spices, because I used a hot Italian sausage, because I like spice in my stuff, because I live in southern Florida, and in central Florida now, but I'm from southern Florida, and it's hot, so I like food spicy. It makes you sweat, makes you feel good, makes the endorphins come out in your body. So, but as you can see, it's starting to thicken up. It's starting to get warm now. And so the center is starting to get thicker and thicker. The sausage is getting more pronounced in it. But you got to keep it moving. And that means I do a circle 8. I don't know what, or I'll just go around the outside, or I'll do a circle 8, or around the outside, say circle 8. Around the outside. Now you see how the gravy's getting thicker and thicker? This is going to be beautiful. And all the orange coloring is starting to go away, because it's actually starting to get absorbed into it. The oils and the fats are all starting to get absorbed together. They're starting to bind in the milk. Yeah, so this is a bechamel. If you used a stock, you'd be making a veloute. or if you used beef stock that is browned or chicken stock that's browned.
The biscuits.
You're using hold on, I can't stop yet. Okay, I'm turning this way down to a simmer right now. As it thickened up, pull it off, show everything. Okay, I'm pulling it off and cooling it down. I'm gonna add another 1/8 of a cup of milk to that, which is really cold. That'll slow the cooking down on it. So I gotta get 20 minutes out of this without scorching it. Because remember, you gotta cook it for 20 minutes and you don't want to scorch it. And so you cool it down a little bit and then bring it back up. It'll just get thicker and more. But if you can see the bottom now as I'm bringing my pan across, the bottom is almost silver again perfectly. Because I'm scraping every bit of that and getting that all nice stuff off the bottom up into my gravy. That's where all the flavor is. All that caramelized sugar and proteins and carbon that's been put down coming out of the bacon and the sausage is now in my sauce instead of the bottom of the pan. That's one of the best things you can ever do. Deglaze that pan with that cream milk, the cold milk that warms up slowly on it. You just take it all off. And don't forget the sides. Gotta scrape your sides down. Oh, look at that. It's going to be some of the most beautiful sauce you've ever had in your life. Okay, so now I'm going to add my bacon back in. It won't be crunchy anymore, but it'll give flavor off into it at the very, very end here. I don't need to go about 5, 6 more minutes with this. The bottom's all into it now. Thickness is perfect for me. I like it so it sticks. So it sticks, you know. One of the ways I look at it is it creates a ribbon when you draw it across. And can I see the back of the ribbon all the way across? That means it's thick enough and it's al dente. Sorry. When I grind it across like that, it's nappe or it's to coat. This is just biscuit gravy, baby. But I'm telling you, it's a little bit of heaven. It's just a little bit of heaven, baby. Sauce is done. I take a clean spoon. We'll run it over the top of it. When it comes up, this is called nappe. This is to coat. That means that it sticks to the sauce. So it's basically rib sticking at this point. Ready to go. I have to say that's pretty good. Ooh, it's spicy. And that was only that 1/4 cup. And those, 2 tablespoons or 2 teaspoons of black pepper. Ooh, I bet that stuff is hot though. But you know, with the biscuits, it'll melt right in. It'll be perfect. Biscuits in half. And now I'm going to get me a spoon. It's not slotted. Make sure you turn it off. Don't forget, because you'll just keep cooking it. And I know it just get better and better, but I personally like 2 biscuits myself, split in half, so that makes 4 pieces. She likes to leave her biscuits whole and eat them stacked. She'll show you. We'll show you hers in a second. And I do like 1 scoop over each. You know, that's fair to me. So there you go. There is biscuits and gravy.